So good morning students. Today we will go with the topic that is the pollination. Okay. So till now what we studied means till now we had studied about the male gametophyte then female gametophyte. Okay. In the last class we had discussed about the embryo sac, the structure of embryo sac and the structure of ovule. Both the questions are very important. And after that, I had explained about monospermic embryo development. Okay, monosporic embryo development, as well as I had told you about the 8 nucleate 7 cell stage structure of embryo sac. That also is explained. So till now we have studied about the male gametophyte, how the male gametes are going to produce and how the female gametes are going to produce. That is, we had studied in microsporogenesis and megasporogenesis. So today we will talk about a topic that is known as the pollination. Okay, what is mean by pollination here means that is the transfer of, it is the process, it is the process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. From anther to stigma. This process where the pollen grains, as you know, the pollen grains are the male gametes. What they are? That is the male gametes. Okay. From where it is going to release? That is from the anther. Anther, which is one part of what? Male gametophyte. Okay. Anther to stigma. Again, the stigma, it is one of the part of female reproductive structure. Okay. Or else pistil also we can say. It is a part of what? Pistil. So, for example, you see here, this is the stigma. This is the style and ovary. Okay, then here, this is the filament and this is the anther. So, the anther after maturing, this anther is going to deossize, then they will start to release the pollen grains. This small microscopic yellow color powdery structure, that we can call it as the pollen grains. That is the male gametes. So this pollen grains is going to transfer from the anther to the stigma. Okay, this will transfer from the anther to the stigma like this. Transfer. So this process of transferring from the anther to the stigma, what is that? Means that is the pollen grains. This process is known as the pollination. For what purpose? The pollen grains are going to transfer their mixture for the purpose that is the fertilization. For what purpose? Because they have to see, ovules are the female gamete. So, in this we are talking about the sexual reproduction. Okay, we are talking about sexual reproduction in angiosperm. Sexual reproduction means where the female gamete has to fuse with the male gamete. Here, what is the female gamete? Ovule, and male gamete, that is the pollen grain. Okay, so these cells, ovule or pollen grain, they have to fuse. Then they are going to form the zygote. Okay, this is known as the sexual reproduction. So here also you see in this structure, in this pollination, what is the main what is the main objective for this pollination? Means that is the fertilization. For the fertilization purpose, the pollen grains are going to shed from the anther, then it is going to transfer to the stigma. Okay. So this is known as this process is known as the pollination. Okay. See, here the pollination will occur in the same flower because many flowers will be the bisexual flowers where there will be presence of two reproductive structure. For example, you can take as a hibiscus. Okay, hibiscus is there. So in this hibiscus flower, both the female and the male reproductive structures will be present in the same flower. This is the hibiscus flower. Okay, here this is the female reproductive structure, and here there will be presence of an anther, which is the male reproductive structure. Okay, so here this male reproductive structure, see within this flower is the bisexual, means both male and female reproductive structures are present in the same flower. If the pollination is taking place, then the pollen grains are transferring from the anther to stigma of the same flower. Okay, of the same flower, this type of pollination is known as the self-pollination. What it is? It is known as the self-pollination. Okay, because it is located in the same flower, it is transferring in that flower only, not in another flower. That process of pollination or that transfer of pollen grains within the same flower to the stigma, that it is known as the self-pollination. Then one more example I will tell you. Unisexual flowers. Unisexual flowers means where the male and female reproductive structures are present in the different flowers. Okay, different flowers of the same plant. Yes, sir. See here. This is one plant in which here there will be presence of one flower, and this is the another flower. These both flowers are located at the different branches of the plant. Okay. So here, this is the male flower. This is the male flower, and this is the female flower. Okay, this one is the male, and this one is the female. So here, the pollen grains are going to release, and it is going to transfer to the another flower stigma of the another flower. Okay, but within the same plant. But flowers are different. Okay, flowers are different. Within the same flower, that is known as self-pollination. But here, the transfer of pollen grains from the male flower to the female flower, or else we can also say transfer of pollen grains from one flower to the another flower, which are located on the same plant. That it is known as the cross-pollination. What we can call? Cross-pollination. Okay, one more example, one more type of pollination here, that this is one unisexual flower, this is the another plant, one more unisexual flower. This one is the male flower and this one is the female flower. Plant number 1, plant number 2. So, this flower is going to release the pollen grain. Okay, and here this is the female flower. Pollen grains transferring from one flower of one plant to the another flower of another plant. Okay, this is also known as the cross pollination. Here, if you classify the pollination, the different types of pollination, here there are three types of pollination. One is self-pollination and two types of cross-pollination. Okay, understood? So one by one, we will talk in detail about this classification or types. So what are the kinds of pollination? Okay. Next, kinds of pollination. So here, the first, depending on the source of pollen, there are three types of pollination. First one, is the autogamy. Okay, autogamy, which is also known as the self-pollination. Okay, here it is the transfer of pollen grains the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of same flower. Okay, this process of pollination is known as the self-pollination. Okay, here it will show some adaptations. Okay, for self-pollination there are certain adaptations. So let's see what are the adaptations. In that adaptation, the first one is the homogamy. Homo means same. Same, what they are telling, on what basis they are telling homo. What is the same thing over here, means that is the flower. Okay, so here not only the flower, one more thing very important, their maturation time should be same. Okay, see, the anther as well as stigma should mature at the same time. Then only the self-pollination can take place. Okay, if the what we call, if anther is matured, anther starts releasing pollen grains, then stigma is not mature, then there will be no self-pollination. That pollen grains will fly away. Otherwise, some agents will take that pollen grains to some other flower. In that case, what happens means cross-pollination will take place. For that reason, whatever the maturation time will be there, that it should be same. See here, the maturation of stamen. Stamen means male reproductive structure. Maturation of stamen and carpel, or else you can write pistil. Pistil, that is the female reproductive structure. Maturation of stamen and pistil should be at same time. In that case only, the self-pollination, the chances of self-pollination will be more. Okay, and this same time, this process we can call it as the homogamy. See, some examples are there. This is very important. Examples are very important, as well as what is autogamy. This will ask in 2 or 3 marks. Okay, important question. One question will be there for 3 marks from the pollination topic. Okay, further many topics are there about the cross pollination, pollination in seagrasses or aquatic pollination. That all things we have to see. Among all these pollination topic, 1 3-mark question will be definitely come for your theory exam. Here, one example is there, oxalis and viola. Viola, which is also known as the common pansy. Oxalis and viola are the example of what? Of the homogamy. And one more thing, some plants like oxalis and viola, it produces a casmogamous flower. Such plants will produces casmogamous flowers. What do you mean by this casmogamous flower means? Here, flowers with exposed anther and stigma. What do you mean by casmogamous flower? Some majority of flowers will be, they are going to expose their anther and stigma so that the self-pollination can take place easily. Such flowers are known as the casmogamous flower. This is also very important for 1 mark. What do you mean by casmogamous flower? For example, what do you mean by casmogamous flower means anther and stigma, flowers with exposed anther and stigma. Okay, such a type exposed means see, one example, this is a flower and here stigma is exposed. Exposing means which are just out from the flower for the purpose of pollination. Okay, their structure are in exposed form. You can see how the stigma is in exposed form and this is the anther. They both are in exposed form. Such flowers are known as the where the stigma and the anther both are exposed. Such flowers are known as the casmogamous flower. Okay, one more type of flower is there which you can study in the self-pollination, that is the cleistogamous flowers. Okay, what do you mean by that cleistogamous flower? Let's see here. See, next, second one, cleistogamy, or this is also very important for 1 mark. Okay, cleistogamy or cleistogamous flower. Cleisto, such as Homogamy means same, like that. Cleisto means closed. Okay, see here, in cleistogamous flowers, in cleistogamous flowers, the flowers always it will be bisexual. Flowers it will be bisexual. See here, what do you mean by cleistogamous flowers? So, where this like the flower will be. Okay, the anther and stigma it will be closed in one flower only. Okay, for that reason the flower should be bisexual, means both male and female reproductive structure should be present in one flower. Then only these flowers are known as the cleistogamous flower, and whatever the pollination which are taking place within the bud, or else you can say bud-like structures will be there. Some flowers will be closed; they are not going to open. Okay, in that closed form only the pollination will take place. Mostly you can see this type of flowers which will be lying underground. Okay, one example is there, that is the groundnut. Okay, so that flowers will be underground. They are not going to expose because they are merged in the soil. They will be closed. They are in the closed form. See here. And the second thing, always closed, and these flowers will always closed and underground. Always it will be closed and underground. They are not going to open. They are not going to expose. If it is exposed form means then we can call it as the plasmogamous flower. Okay. So see here. And one more very important thing. In this cleistogamous flower, the anther and stigma always they will be lying close to each other. Okay. See here. Always in cleistogamous flowers, always stigma and anther lie close to each other. Close to each other. The next, when anther dehisces in the flower buds, there only the anthers, the pollen grains are going to transfer to the stigma within that bud. So here, if like these flowers which are in closed form means there will be no chance of cross pollination because the pollen grains will not come out. No any other agents are going to take that pollen grains to pollinate some other flowers. Okay, so cleistogamous flower produces the geocarpic fruits. What is they are going to produce? These flowers it produces geocarpic fruits. What do you mean by geocarpic fruits? Means one example I will tell you, that is the groundnut geocarpic fruits. But these fruits will be underground, but they have a assured seeds, development of seeds. You have seen the groundnut where the seeds will be present. Okay. So examples are of this cleistogamous groundnut. Here, the scientific name of groundnut is Arachis hypogaea. Okay. One more example, that is balsam. Balsam plant. Scientific name is Impatiens. One more example, that it is Camelina. See, first of all, here the genetic diversity will be lacking. In self-pollination, the genetic changes or the genetic diversity will be lacking. Genetic diversity is lacking. This is one of the disadvantages because the pollen grains are not going to go to or transferring to the some other flower. Within the same flower, that is the thing, there will be no genetic changes. Okay, this may lead to the degeneration of race of that particular pollen flowers. If like that only the pollination will take place in that particular species, what happens means that flowers soon it will become degenerated. Okay, degeneration of race. No genetic variation, no genetic recombination. Okay, no new flowers are going to take place. With that, with self-pollination means in that same flower, the same characters you will see generation to generation. If like that same characters you are seeing or same genes that is going to transfer within the same flower, in the same plant means that will lead to the lack of genetic diversity. So what are the advantages? This is about the disadvantage. What are the advantages of this self-pollination means it maintains the line of purity. It maintains the line of purity from generation to generation. What do you mean by this? Line of purity means, see, one flower is there, which is the bisexual flower. Here, I discuss you take where one character we will take, that is the pink colored flowers or red colored flowers. If red colored flowers are there and flowers are bigger flowers, these are the two characters. If it is crossing in between them only or pollinating in between them only means after many generations also you will see in the plant the same red colored flower, bigger flowers. No changes at all. Okay. If there is no changes, they are maintaining that particular characters. What are that characters? Red colored flowers and bigger flowers. Okay, they are totally from generation. How many generations it may be? For example, 10 to 15 also, we can see the same flowers with the same characters. Okay, that we can say line of purity. They will maintain the line of purity. Then, in some cases, this may improve the, if you can see in the agricultural fields, in that case, what we say, in that case, what happens means it may increase the yield. If that character is there, increasing the yield, that will maintain after generation to generation. That is also one advantages. And disease resistance. Okay, that is also one advantage. So this is about what? About the self-pollination. Next we will go for the cross-pollination. Next that it is second type, cross pollination. Here the cross pollination are of two types. The first one is the gaetinogamy. Gaetinogamy. Okay, and one more, that is the xenogamy. Okay, Three types of pollination are there. One is self-pollination and two types of cross-pollination. Okay, here geitinogamy means transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Anther to stigma of another flower. Another flower located on same plant. Okay, and what do you mean by xenogamy? Means same thing, that transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of another flower located on different plant. See the difference between the geitonogamy and xenogamy. Same thing is going to take place. Only the thing, the flower which are located on the same plant. This type of pollination is known as the geitonogamy. Okay, in xenogamy, the same thing, transfer pollen grain from anther to stigma of another flower located on the different plant, that is known as the xenogamy. Okay, these are the two types of what? Cross pollination. And see here, in geitonogamy, the flowers are arising on the different branches of the plants. Okay, that if pollination taking place in such a type of flowers means, then it is known as the cross pollination. And that flowers, whatever the flowers in which the geitonogamy is going to take place, that particular flowers will be genetically identical. Genetically identical means they will be same. Okay. Flowers in which the geitonogamy is taking place, flowers will be genetically identical. Because the flowers are locating on the same plant. Same plant means same flowers. Okay, see, red colored rose flower plant is there. In that red color plant, red color rose plant, you can see only red color flowers. Okay, you cannot see the pink color or white color flowers. Okay, so here the flowers will be genetically identical. That means their genes will be similar. That's why they look same. Then the next thing here, this cross-pollination flowers, whatever these flowers which are involved in the geitonogamy, they will not result in genetic variation. There will be no genetic variation because no genetic variation. Because variation means changes. There will be no changes in the genes. Why? Because the pollination is taking place within the same plant. So, flower number 1 and flower number 2, they both have the same genes. Okay, so there will be no changes. There will be no changes in the genes. So, this geitonogamy is similar to the autogamy only. Okay, but it's not autogamy. There will be no genetic variation. Here also there will be no genetic variation. The flowers will be same only. Only the thing within the same flower. Only the thing within the different flower which are located in the same plant. Okay, this is about the geitonogamy. In xenogamy, whatever the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of different flowers which are located on the different plants. So either the same species or the different species. This type of pollination may take place either the same species or different species. One example I will tell you, because whether the pollen grains know, see, this is the hibiscus plant and this is the rose plant. So pollen grains are going to release from hibiscus to the stigma of rose plant. Whether this hibiscus pollen grain know whether their plant is rose plant or hibiscus plant? No, they don't know. Whether it will be possible? No. So what they are going to do means they will, some agents will be there. Agents means some animals, wind, water. They will take away. They will fly away these pollen grains, and wherever they come across or they come in contact with the stigma, they will start to fertilize. So within the same species or taking place within the different species also. See, if different species means there will be genetic variability taking place. Means there will be changes in the genes. Okay, one more example I will tell you. If cross pollination is taking place between the rice plant and the wheat plant, they don't know whether it's a same species or different species. They will merge. You can see the characters of rice in the wheat. Okay, like that also can take place. So there will be genetic variability which may be advantageous, which may be disadvantageous to that particular plant. Okay, so this is about what? Cross pollination, the two different types of cross pollination. The next topic, that is the agents of pollination. What do you mean by agents over here? Agents means here which are also known as the pollinators. What they are known as? They are also known as the pollinators. Pollinators means whoever taking that pollen grains from one flower and transferring to the stigma of another flower or same flower. So that process, agents are also known as the pollinators. What they are also known as? They are also known as the pollinators. And these pollination agents or pollinators are of two types. Okay, one will be the biotic agent, and the second it will be the abiotic agent. Biotic means that is the living. Okay, abiotic, living means living organisms which are acting as in pollinators. Okay, that it is known as one is there, that is the animals. In animals you can take butterfly, birds, squirrels, rats. Okay, that all insects. Okay, that all will come under the biotic agents. Abiotic agent means there are two abiotic agents, that is the water and wind. Okay, so about these pollinator agents or pollinators we will discuss in the next class. Okay, thank you.